What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and Windows Phone 8 is making the rounds this holiday season. And arguably, there are two Windows Phone 8 devices that are kind of the flagship devices in Microsoft's product line. One is the HTC Windows Phone 8X that's available on 3 carriers. The other one is the AT&T exclusive Nokia Lumia 920. Now, this thing is available at AT&T now for $100, so it's putting it in a really competitive price bracket for the holiday season, and it's available in 5 different colors: white, black, blue, red, and yellow. It's packing some pretty killer specs too: an HD display, an 8-megapixel camera, Windows Phone 8, and then a dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor to boot. Is this the device you should get in this busy holiday season, or should you go with the Galaxy S3, an iPhone 5, an Xperia TL? I could list off names of phones all day long that are awesome this holiday season. Is this the one? We'll find out in the review, but first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you're going to walk out working. They'll get your Lumia 920 set up and ready to go, so when you walk out the door, you're LTE toting, you got your apps downloaded, you're doing an awesome job on your Lumia 920 because you walked out working at Best Buy Mobile. Let's take a look. Lumia 920, $100. Is this the must-have device this holiday season? Let's go take a look in the review. If you like personality, like customizing your device, this could be an ultimate smartphone for you. This is the Nokia Lumia 920. It's Nokia's flagship device with Windows Phone 8. Now, they've doubled down. They're betting everything, at least in the US and in major markets, on Windows Phone 8. And hopefully, if this device is any indicator, it'll do incredibly well. The Nokia Lumia 920 is available at AT&T right now for $100 or $99.99 with a 2-year agreement, and it comes in 5 different colors. It comes in black, white, red, blue, and yellow. So a lot of different choice for you to choose from. Unfortunately, the white, and I should say unfortunately, like some people will like the white, but this was one of 2 available in the store. I had to buy this because unfortunately the Nokia units weren't available at the moment. When we reached out to Nokia, they did not have one for us, so I bought this one on the Phone Dog tab. But all they had in the retail store at the time was black and white. Hopefully you can find that color of choice if you want it from your local AT&T store, perhaps at Best Buy Mobile. So this thing is packing some nice specs. It brings the 900 kind of an evolutionary bump up with the 920. It kind of has that same look and feel as the Lumia 900, but that said, it's a little bit chunkier, it's a little bit heavier all around. So just specs-wise, let's run through the specs. It's packing a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU. It's got a 4.5-inch HD display with Nokia's clear black technology, so 720p display at 4.5 inches. 720p there, and Nokia's clear black technology. 8-megapixel camera back here with Carl's Zeiss lens and a 1080p HD video recording capability, a front-facing camera, a 2000 milliamp hour non-removable battery, and then Windows Phone 8 out of the gate. Now, we covered Windows Phone 8 pretty extensively on the site amongst reviews and dogfights and things like that, but you can obviously see some differences here if you're coming into this from maybe Windows Phone 7 or 7.5. It looks better. They've made it aesthetically a little bit more pleasing, and obviously you can see the customization things that I've done on this device. So just to pick it up for sake of example, let's do this. As you can see here, I can make the People tab, or the People's Live tile rather. All of these are live tiles. I can really customize this device and make it my own. So now I can change it into 3 different configurations. You can see the smaller tile, and I should say in most cases, most applications allow it. Some applications only allow certain sizes, but you can see here, for example, I have phone set on the smaller size, people on the largest size, and weather channel on that kind of mid-size. And if you watched any of my videos, my Windows Phone 7 videos, my biggest frustration with Windows Phone 7 was the fact that there was pretty limited customization when it came to the home screen. This is what you see on a daily basis when you touch your device after coming in from the lock screen, which you'll see as CNN. We'll talk about that more in just a second. But obviously, customization is pretty important. This is the first thing you see when you get to the home screen. The first thing you see every single day when you check your information. Microsoft finally decided to make it kind of a key feature. One thing I really like, for example, is this. When you click on messaging, you can make it any different size that you want. So if you have it at the large size and you get a text message, it'll actually show a preview of the text message. I like that feature quite a bit, and this is something I argued for the longest time. If you remember the videos, I was like, you know what? I was like, we could put calendar appointments on here. Why can't we put messaging previews on there? So they did address that in Windows Phone 8. So out of the gate, you do get some AT&T stuff. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because really what I want to focus on is where this device differentiates itself from other Windows Phone 8 devices, namely its biggest competitor, the HTC Windows Phone 8X. But out of the gate, typical AT&T stuff: code scanner, family map, navigator, radio, UVerse. I've got a bunch of different applications installed in here. Probably one of my favorite applications, it's actually just a widget, or a live tile rather, excuse me, Forgive me, Microsoft. No, they're not widgets. Battery level for WP8. It's a great application. I've complained for years. I'm like, I like my physical battery percentage. I like to know exactly where I stand, so I don't have to pull down every 10 seconds and try to figure it out based on some arbitrary battery meter. Well, now I can have it here on the lock screen, and then I can have it in here as well, and that is really a nice feature. So come down here, you can see ESPN out of the gate, other stuff I've installed. You've got, what else? My AT&T, Nokia stuff, and this is Nokia's kind of value play here. They're like, you know what, you can get a Windows Phone 8 device from HTC, from a couple of different vendors, Samsung as well. We're going to add some value here because this is our primary platform. What they've done is not only have they hit it on the price point, $100 for this versus $200 for the HTC 8X. They've hit it on the price point, but they've also provided some great value-added applications. Nokia City Lens, Drive, Maps, and Music, and that's where we're going to spend the meat of part one of this review. But down on to other applications, you can see YP Mobile out of the gate, and of course some stuff I've installed, World Clock, Weather Channel, and Twitter. So you can obviously see Nokia's worked really hard to create a value proposition here, and that's what I want to focus on. Let's take a quick look at City Lens, and we'll see how it stacks up. Now, City Lens is pretty cool. We saw this at either CES or CTIA, and I'll start it up. And you can see, okay, Nokia City Lens, we're going to explore Dallas, and you can see nearby food, hotel, stuff that's near my office. And let's just say, you know what? It's late, it's Friday. It's not really late, but it's Friday. It's let's see just what's nearby in general. And let me calibrate the compass off the camera here. And let's see. So when I have it in portrait mode, I can see, for example, Preston Food, Movie Trading, Papa John's, a lot of just different stuff here. And it shows, as you can see, the compass moves depending on which direction I'm moving the phone at. So when I go into landscape mode, you can see that it brings up this kind of view mode where I can hold the phone out in front of me. It's kind of hard to do this on camera with the angle in which I have the camera, but for example, I can see, okay, Food, August Moon, Exxon right over there, Einstein Brothers right over there, Beltline in Preston, corner of Beltline in Preston, looks like a bus stop, Hollywood Day Spa, what else do I have? Oh, I got a couple over here. As you can see, Movie Trading, Neighborhood, Papa John, Sherwin-Williams, it's right over there in the corner of Preston and Beltline. And I can move back when I'm done. Let's see what's over here. Preston Food Services, Super Discount Bridal. Surprised Tom Thumb's not showing up. Let's see. What's over here by my coffee cup, ad group. And you can see this is really great because when you're in a city maybe you don't know. Maybe I'm on a business trip. I'm leaving Dallas. I'm going to San Francisco. Been to San Francisco a million times, but let's say I'm staying in a different neighborhood. That's hard to say. Say I'm staying in a different neighborhood, and I'm like, you know what, what's around here? I want to do some shopping. I want to check out a hotel. Maybe I want to get some dinner. I can click on food and easily move the device around. So it's all about these value-added applications. That's one of my favorites. Another one I really like a lot is Nokia Maps, and we'll come in here and take a look at it as well. And again, this is how Nokia is distinguishing their devices from other Windows Phone 8 devices, because unlike Android, there's not a whole lot of customization in Windows Phone 8 just between manufacturers. So you look at this, and if you were to cover up the logos, you were to cover up everything but the displays, these would functionally be almost identical in terms of, you know, say for little things like HTC Hub and of course the Nokia applications. They'd be functionally very, very similar across the board. And so I think, you know, they're really looking to distinguish themselves as much as possible. So you can obviously see Nokia Maps here, and I've got my location and the various interstates in the US. Let's back out here, and we can take a look at some of the application features here. Directions, download maps, settings. So I can go to directions, let's say, and it brings up from, let's select the starting point, and let's say, you know what, from Dallas to, let's say, where else? Where do we want to go? Let's go somewhere cool. Let's go to, there's Dallas, let's say Texas, obviously, duh, to Albuquerque. And let's do that. And you know what? New Mexico, that's exactly where we want to go. And let's get some directions and see what we can do here. So again, a lot of value-added applications out of this gate. This is going to take 10 hours, 644 miles. And you can see head west, it gives me directions, turn-by-turn directions. I can search. And of course, I can scroll this down and see that it's taking me that way. Actually, that's interesting. The way I would have gone would have been up to Oklahoma City and over. But this obviously knows a better way. So pass you through Amarillo to Albuquerque. So you've got a nice little map right there. So that's a great value add, and granted you do get a Maps application out of the gate on all Windows phones, but this just brings an additional functionality to the device, and also you can download Nokia Maps for offline use. So really, let's say you're in a foreign country, you don't want to use data, you're in London, let's say, don't want to use data, don't want to waste the data allotment that you have. International packages are terrible at that. You can download the application's maps before you go, and you can look at Nokia maps without using any data, and I absolutely love that. Little features like that really trying to distinguish themselves amongst the competition. This is another one I like, Nokia Music, and think of it as kind of like a Spotify, but on Nokia. You got featured stuff here. You got gigs near me, so I can see, you know what, Pitter Splatter, Rock Lottery. I've got a bunch of different gigs going on. It obviously locates me based on my zip code, and so you can see here my city, and I've got all this different stuff going on around me. Bo Phillips, Matt Kimbrough, Rhett Miller, Second Lovers, a lot of different gigs going on, but what I can really do is come in here and select Mix Radio. I can do, you know what, let's do a mix. We're going to create a mix, and we'll come in here and we'll do, let's think, Fall Out Boy maybe? The only reason I remember that name is because they were in the news the other day for whatever reason. Fall Out Boy, let's see what we've got here. And then we've got, let's see, what else? Rihanna. And let's do Adele. That's going to be the most jacked up music station in the history of the world. But play music, and we'll wait for it to play and start up. So again, all these value-added applications for $100. So there's an Adele song. Obviously, I can go back and do my things on my phone, and then when I want to change it, I can either hit the volume rocker and just pause, or I can go back in to the application itself. So again, a lot of different customization, a lot of different choices here. And one more thing I want to highlight before we cut for part 2 are the actual customization choices when it comes to color. You can see here, change it to cyan, for example, or change it over to orange or amber. Actually, that's even better descriptor. Orange is not the best descriptor. We'll go to amber, and you can change that around, but you can also do some great things with the lock screen now. They're integrating the lock screen with some select applications. So for example, I've got Bloomberg here. I can open the application. This is the kind of thing, I'll talk about this in part 2. Actually, I won't spoil it. I'll say that's kind of what frustrates me, but you have to wait till part 2 to see what frustrates me right there. Just frustrating how everything's kind of one-dimensional at times in Windows Phone 8. For example, I have to open the application to close it back out so it automatically updates my background. Little things like that where I'm like, you know what, this wouldn't happen in Android. I could do it and it'd be running in the background, and it wouldn't be a problem. That said, notifications have been improved. You see my battery meter there, but I've got shortcuts for my Outlook account, my messaging, and I can choose an app to show for detailed status. So for example, let's say CNN, I want to select detailed status right there. When I come back in, you can see it shows me Bloomberg is my background now, and then it shows the most recent application or the most recent news item on CNN. I can make that text messaging, I can make that calendar, I can make that whatever the case may be out of that little included list of applications. But Bloomberg right now is my background, and you can see this integrate with a couple of different applications, Groupon, Facebook, and more. So they're really working hard to redefine the personalization of this device and of Windows Phone 8.